Hello everybody, welcome back to the Sleep Sleeper series. I've already kind of transferred things around for the new week. We went back to Snowdrop Tundra. I determined that'd be the best option for Growth Week, just because we can do relatively well with our Rat Squad. We can run the Comfey as well to get a little bit of potential energy recovery on the Pseudo Udo. Even though it's got a main skill chance down and it's an ingredient finder, so that's not really what we're going for. But, it also gains XP, sleep XP from the event, so I will take it since Comfey candies are going to be difficult to come by. Because it's a rare Pokemon, and who's sending those candies? Because, yeah, it's a Comfey. Anyway, so that's really what we're kind of going for this week, but I wanted to make a little mini announcement for the Sleep Sleepers. I think it's a huge advancement. I have finally formalized a list of allowed and unallowed Pokemon. And I've developed this through a couple different ways. I haven't formalized it for Skill Specialist. I think Skill Specialist is a lot more nuance to it because, well, I'll just explain why after I show how I determined these for both Berries and Ingredient Specialist. This way, I am bound to a set of rules. There's no matter for subjectivity. It's all just based off of Rain on X, the raw numbers. Now, let's get into how I did this. For Berry Specialist, I think it's the easier way to go about it. I was just evaluating for total strength with the base value of their skill, so whatever they evolve at, because that's realistically what you'll be running them most of the time at when they're in their final evolution state. I evaluated for if they have favored berry, since that's ideally when you're running a berry specialist, and as a berry specialist, then I just wanted to see where do they rank. What's the ranking, and this is how it came up. And I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to say 50-50. Halfway point. The halfway point is Halloween Hat Pikachu. That feels relatively accurate for what I'm going for on this account. So, the top 11 that ranked based off of this scaling. Now, notably, I also made it infinite energy and no inventory considered, just to make the evaluation simple. This does hurt Pokemon like Raticate, Dodrio, and Altaria more, and Marowak, and Arbok as well. All the Pokemon that have the energy recovery main skill, it does kind of hurt them a little bit more than other Pokemon. But that's how I decided to rank them, is just full energy and infinite inventory. How do they compare? And bottom half, I'm allowing. Top half, I'm not allowing. This results in it results in a couple interesting things. It actually allows me to get a few more Pokemon that I didn't realize would actually rank up okay when evaluating this way. And one of them, two most notably, are Dodrio and Primeape. I think Dodrio is a result of the fact that it's got that Charge Energy S as its main skill. So it's literally nothing when evaluating for total strength with full energy. Primeape, on the other hand, I think it's actually just a worse Pokemon than I thought it was. I think that's just a matter of I personally have a Primeape on my main account with Berry Finding S and Help Speed M, and I caught it almost right away. So I've been kind of biased towards it, but maybe it's not actually as good as I thought it was. I just had one that had great stats on my main account. So, yeah, this is our list of allowed Berry Specialists, and this is our list of not allowed ones. And the borderline is like Pika, Halloween, and Butterfree, and on the other end, it's like Ninetales, Kanto, and Houndoom. But I don't see this shifting around very much, because there's actually quite a big difference between, like, I mean, I guess it's only about, like, 2K, but, yeah, that's how I decided to evaluate that. I think Ninetales Kanto only ranks so lowly because its skill is Energy Recharge, which, once again, completely being excluded from the evaluation like this. As for Ingredient Specialists, the way that I went about it, and the way I decided I would go about grading them is I would just take whatever the top producer for every ingredient is and slash it. And that's the first step. However, I add an asterisk of if the top producer is a 16-pip Pokemon, that's not necessarily reasonably, like, everyone's caught that. So then I would also ban the second highest producer. The third thing, I would do the same if the top Pokemon was a pseudo-legendary, because the comparison of pseudo-legendaries to other Pokemon is absurd. Like, pseudo-legendaries are just insane at what they do. So I figure the second highest producer is also going to be probably reasonably good at producing it, just not quite the pseudo-legendary standard. So then I slashed all of them. Now, I felt like this was a pretty good way of going about it. It led to However, it led to some unintentional Pokemon getting through that I'm still not going to use, even though they're technically allowed by this rule set. It just feels against the spirit of this the nature of this account, and those primarily are Victreebel and Charizard. Charizard especially, it barely squeaked by because it somehow is actually like third for Bean Sausage when evaluating at infinite inventory and full energy. I knew it, but even if it was second, it still would squeak by because Aggron is just slightly better for sausages. So Charizard's technically allowed as per these new rules, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want to go against the spirit of the game, and I can still veto these rules and ban something that would otherwise be unbanned. My rule is, for myself, I'm not going to unban something that I feel should be unbanned if it's banned by these rules, but I can veto something that's not banned, and I feel like Victreebel and Charizard just go against that. However, Comfey, Pinsir, Dugtrio, Cramorant, and Mr. Mime, they all feel like that is a reasonable thing. Unfortunately, Absol, I know that I caught an okay Absol, and one of the Pokemon that you guys were trying to get me to be like, oh, you should use the Absol, you should use the Absol. After its recent buff, it actually does outperform, and it is up in that top spot for Cacao, so I don't think that it fits. It's against these rules as per this standard that I'm laying out. So given that, I can't use the Absol that I caught. However, I can use the Pinsir. The Pinsir that I caught a while back, because it is neither the best for apples, it's actually third for apples, and it is not the best for honey either. It is second to Venusaur, and by quite a significant margin, too, for being a 16-pip Pokemon. So, after all that, basically the list of legal ingredient specialists are Charizard, Comfey, Pinsir, Victreebel, Dugtrio, Cramorant, and Mr. Mime. But the ones that I'm actually going to be allowing myself are just Comfey, Pinsir, Dugtrio, Cramorant, and Mr. Mime. I was not expecting Dugtrio, and I was not expecting Mr. Mime when evaluating in this way. But honestly, the more I think about Dugtrio and Mr. Mime, the more I'm like, yeah, they're kind of really off-meta Pokemon. I don't see anyone really using them. I've seen Dugtrio a few times because a lot of people had it for leaks before Quaquaval was released. But realistically, the gap between Dugtrio and, like, Quaquaval, yeah, it's only 4 per day. But when you're talking as small of numbers as 4 per day versus 38, let's see, 34.48 divided by 38.85. I'm just doing quick math over here. That's 88% the productivity. That is bad. Let's see. If I just do... I'm just going to see. How does that compare with... If you have Help Speed M, that's only... That Dugtrio with Help Speed M would only produce about 3% more leaks than the Quaquaval at neutral. Based off my quick math, I didn't say about 3.2% better, which is a very, very small margin for having a sub-skill that boosts productivity by like 16%. So that's how we're evaluating here. And Dugtrio is now allowed, which I actually really like that because that means I have options for 5-pip Pokemon, ingredient Pokemon that I can catch. Gives me a little more options, and I don't think it goes against the spirit of this based off of the way that I decided to go about this analysis. So, this is our list of legal Pokemon that we're working with for berries and ingredients. Skills are going to still be rather up in arms, and the reason why I can't go about it doing it the way that I did these other ones is because some skills don't get evaluated when it comes to total strength, so evaluating them this way would be very, very flawed. And other skills, the skill itself provides, like, some skills themselves suck, so evaluating it this way would also be unfair. Because by that rules, well, Umbreon's the only one that does Moonlight, so it would be banned if I went about it and grading it the same way as ingredients. And we all know Umbreon sucks, so let's just not even question if that one should be the application. Like, not all skills are made the same. This evaluation can't apply to skills the same way, so skills are still going to be kind of loose in my definition for how I'm defining them. Also, by this definition, Gardevoir would be the top for energy for everyone. That means we'd be allowed to have Pawmot, Wigglytuff, or Sylveon. I'm not doing that for obvious reasons. So we're still making skills kind of an oddly... it's still not going to be as well defined for skills, but I think having this hard set of rules for berry specialists and ingredient specialists is a good way to go about it, and it allows for future evaluation of future Pokemon rather easily. Just pull up the calculator, see how it ranks, see if it falls into one of those top spots. Maybe we can redefine the ingredients a little bit as more Pokemon are added into the game, but I think 50%, top 50% of berry specialists, great analysis. It cuts right off at Pika Halloween, which feels fair. And then just banning the top producer for the ingredient specialist, I think, is a decent way to go about it here. With a few minor flaws, but I can recognize that Charizard and Victory Bell are too good of Pokemon for this account. So that's how we formalized it. I hope the community can be satisfied with that. So, unfortunately, the Absol that I caught the other day, not allowed. But, Pinsir, I do have a Pinsir, which provides apples, which now that I've decided that Pinsir is allowed, that covers our needs for potential apples long-term for our tea time corn scones goal. Now that we have the Comfey for the ginger and the corn, Pinsir for apples, and then honey, or we're just looking for milk. That's just milk. Like, if we could catch a good evolution, ideally evolutions. I could potentially throw on Pinsir this week, but at least at the start of the week I want a bit more strength, just for more berries from more amounts of spawns. So I'm going to leave the Raticates on the team, the Rat Squad. But I may swap Pinsir on later, depending on how the reaction is to this new grading system. And if you guys agree with me, I may throw Pinsir on to start getting some XP on it. Especially for this event. Okay, now, let's just get right into our sleep session review. This was going to be last night at Snowdrop Tundra. Funnily enough, I got a Poke Biscuit from my daily gift today, so I may be able to catch something, even without hungry if I get lucky. I don't think I will, but it's possible? It's balanced sleep as always. And hey, we actually got 8 spawns by end of week. 3 3-star styles, but there's probably going to be some new styles in here. We're still making our headway at Snowdrop. Four-star Bellsprout. There's a 3-star Q1. Hey, it's like the game heard me say Primeape's allowed now, and then was like, here, Primeapes. Ah, my casting crashed. Give me a moment. I'll pull it back up. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Please stand by. This is what I get for using an old phone. You saw the new style, though. It's a 3-star Primeape, I think is what it was. That does give us some options for Lapis coverage, but I don't think I really need Lapis coverage. All the unique spawns at Lapis are things that I can't use. Because you got Ralts, Beware, and Dragonite, all of which are too good for this account. So, there's like no reason to go there for me. So even though Primeape's allowed, and it's a decent Pokemon for the fact that it's got Favored Berry at one of the better islands, I don't think I should be catching it. That seems weird to say, but I don't think I should be catching it because I don't have a need to go to Lapis, like, literally ever. If it's hungry, though, I'll toss it. I'll catch it, because why not? However, if they ever add Annihilate, that may ruin Primate for this account. Because then it would have access to a ribbon, which I'd have to factor that in when... Because I would have to evaluate it as its final form, is the way that I'm going for this. And even if it's using an underevolved Pokemon, I don't think that's a good way of evaluating for this account. Okay. And even if they do leave it under-evolved, it would have access to ribbons then. So yeah, I don't think Primeape is going to be a long-term goal for us, even though it's technically allowed. Lapis is just useless to us. And it's got potential to be banned in the future for us. So I don't think I'm going to touch Primeape, unless it's, like, hungry right here. Okay, I think it heard me. Let's see, even if I do... It's 12 pips. So I still wouldn't be guaranteed to catch on it, even if I do use my daily biscuit on it. I could catch a Wobbuffet! The only one here that I'm really interested in is Cubone. I could catch the Bellsprout, because as I established, it's technically allowed as per these new rules. But, like I said, that feels against the spirit. I'm vetoing that one. We're going to just try on the Cubone. There's a lot of RNG here. We need a big hit on at least one of the two things, which... Hey! It did! We got lucky. And I'm going to save our extra biscuit. I think it's more valuable to hold on to. Just because we are in a huge biscuit drought right now. I'm glad we were able to save that biscuit, man. Biscuits are so valuable right now. We'll send out Walrein candy. Or Spheal, I guess, with the Walrein. Okay. Hey, rank up. That's always good to see. I know early game a lot of players were saying, don't rank up, it makes it harder to get the incenses. But I look back at that and I'm like, but there's so many advantages to ranking up. You get level rewards, you get your Pokemon spawn at higher levels. I guess those are the two big ones. Anyway, let's see this Cubone. I saw Rash, that's main skill down, ingredients up. Don't really care about that. Nothing good though. This guy still sucks. Well, I think after finally formalizing the what is and what is not allowed, I think that we've made a lot of progress. Not necessarily progress in terms of advancing the account, but in terms of actually defining what the series is. So I'm pretty content with this episode, content with this morning. If you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about my way of evaluating these Pokemon and evaluating what should be and should not be allowed on this account. It took me some time to really think through over the weekend and today. So, yeah. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Come join us, hang out in the Discord. That link's in the description. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. And hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.